Thank you for tuning in to another episode of What's the Haps Lansing. So much fun, and sometimes you learn some stuff. We are talking with the head matriarch of a Lansing institution. Autumn, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Kewpee's. Holy moly.
Yeah.
That is such a great place, has such a great following, a great history in the Lansing area. But I want to know a little bit about you, and maybe I guess that includes your family and stuff like that. Like, I'm going to just assume you were born and raised in Lansing or Lansing area?
Yes.
Because of your connection to the place?
Born and raised at Sparrow. And grew up in Okemos and graduated in Williamson, but Lansing's always been home because if you're not at home, you're at one of the restaurants working. So,
right.
Yeah.
Wait, there was more than one?
We had two. My dad had one like in the late 80s that it now is the part of the Lexus dealership on the south end of Lansing.
Oh.
And then we relocated that one further down, which was an old Rax building, which is like where Cedar and Penn come together. And now it's Zeus's.
Oh, Zeus.
Yeah, we had that one beforehand. And we closed that one probably, I think maybe 15 years ago, give or take. But yeah, we had two. And now it's just down to the one, which is plenty.
One restaurant is a lot of restaurant. So is it something that, as a kid growing up, those family things, did you have an enjoyable experience, or was it like a chore? Like, I'm not trying to knock the hustle, but like, were you really like happy to be there, or was it like, all right, just part of the life, or how was it for you?
Growing up in it could be seen that way, because like with my friends, on come Saturday, if we didn't have a tournament to play in, you're at the restaurant. So that way it can kind of seem like, but growing up that way gave me more appreciation of being part of something.
Yes.
And I knew at a very young age that whatever I did, I just wanted to work with my dad at one of the restaurants. I wanted to do it. And I loved it. And my dad is my favorite part of the business, but it just gives me so much joy to be part of such a great tradition that my great grandmother did, my grandfather. It's just being part of that just is really fulfilling, and it just makes everything else seem it just makes me more grateful to do something that it doesn't seem like work.
Oh, that's I've been saying that a lot lately. Do what you love. And Absolutely. It's really cool that something that might seem like a chore to a lot of other people was actually something that you love to do.
For sure.
And you had that positive family experience, which says a lot about your father, right?
Yes.
Because he made it, even though you were working hard, right?
Yes.
He didn't make the work hard.
No, he implicated that, if you want things, you got to work for them.
Yeah.
And he, to this day, he's still, he's 75 and strong as a bull, and just is still the biggest part of the restaurant. People still come in to see him, and he's still my favorite part of being at Kewpee's.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Sounds like a movie. I mean, I don't know, no disrespect. Like, it sounds like one of those quintessential, life story type of things where, like, it's a good feeling.
It is.
All throughout.
Yeah.
So, like, did you, what did you do for fun? Were you allowed to have, was it all restaurant, no play, or how did it work for you?
We had so much fun growing up. I mean, there are so many perks of growing up in a restaurant that, like when you're on a softball league and your parents bring it, it's your turn to bring a snack. Well, meanwhile, most kids have like a Capri Sun and like the cheese and
or whatever they picked up at the local grocery store in the plastic thing, and they're like, here's some cookies.
Everybody gets 3 ounces of chips. Eat it, Well, my mom would bring New York seltzers and cheeseburgers and fries.
New York seltzers?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so, you think about stuff like that, and, probably back then I was like, Mom, you brought cheeseburgers again for everybody? There's sometimes we were just like, can't you just bring, Capri Suns and, a gross snack like everybody else? But now looking back, those were the things that made us be so proud, being part of, sharing what we do with everybody else.
And your friends are probably like, cheeseburgers again. Whoa! And probably looking at their parents like,
Yeah, like, where's my New York seltzer, you know? Like,
especially those New York seltzers, yo.
those were the jam.
Those were like...
My brother and I that was always a task. We had a little job if we couldn't be in the restaurant. If it was too busy, my brother and I would do a cooler outside and sell New York seltzers. And we just thought we were like on Main Street. Like, we thought we were in the big city doing big things.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, it had New York in the name of it. So you're like, hey.
Yeah, really doing big things. Yeah.
I missed those things. I thought they came back for a while, but I didn't see them in stores, and then you had to just order them online. That's bringing back a whole lot of happy memories.
Right.
So did you ever, or how did this work? Did you have thoughts about going off and doing something else, or you're like, look, I'm just going to stick here and stick to the roots? Like, how did that work out for you?
I went to Chicago and tried it, and I got a really great, what I thought, job offer, you know, doing like kind of event coordinating for a firm, and I thought it'd be more people oriented and interacting with, you know, people, food.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. Once I kind of got through it, knowing what I was in for, my heart wasn't there. Chicago was so fun to live in.
Right.
So fun. And I didn't take the job because it wasn't for me, but no, I knew I was where I wanted to be at.
Yeah.
And so, 12 years ago, came back, and it was short-lived in Chicago because I think it was just a fun little vacation before I committed. You know?
Let me try something.
Yeah. But my heart was here, you know, and being part of Kewpee's has always been a dream of mine since I was a little kid.
Well, restaurant, I've been in restaurant. Accidentally fell in a restaurant. And once you're in it, like, even though there's so much chaos, like, there's just a love, like,
oh yeah,
no other.
Truly.
Like, with the people and your coworkers or employees as you have it, and it's one of those things where, like, when you get through that shift, like, the worst shift in the world turns out to be the best bonding experience with your people.
Absolutely.
Because you're like, I mean, I don't want to knock, this is an exaggeration, but you're like at war with like whatever this challenge is, and you get through, you're like, yeah, right.
We did.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, there's so much to come from that, you know, like a kitchen full of misfits that become family at the end of the day. And whether they're there for 2 months, 6 months, 10 years, 40 years, whatever, that part of them sticks with you. And like, I wish that I did create, I mean, granted it's been 98 years, but I wish that I've created like a portfolio of everybody that's worked with us, because there's so many connections, so many relationships and families, and that you just look, you miss them when they're not working there, you know. So whether it be just for a moment that they're there for a few weeks, but you make an impact, you know, they on you or on them, vice versa. But it's a misfit family that I would pick every day, all day.
I can fully appreciate that. There was this restaurant time, and I don't even remember what years it was, but I just remember this pocket of time for like 18 months where I'm like, wow, this is great. Like, people just working together, like hearing things like, Melik, I dropped off 27. And you're like, you did? Cool. Because I don't know what I'm doing right now.
Right.
And my boss saying to me for the 50th time, stop talking while you're putting in orders. And I'm like, do you want me to work or not work? Because this is how I work. You know, and just like all this great stuff. And just I remember, I know it's not about me, but this is like that thing where like people don't understand. I remember one time I had a problem with a plate, and I don't know if it was like I ordered the wrong thing or what, and I got ready to say the you know, the hey kitchen person, I'm sorry, you know, that whole thing.
Dread.
But the head guy was like, tell me what you, just stop. And I'm like, what? And he's like, tell me what you want. And I'm like, chicken marsala. He's like, come back in 90 seconds. And I looked at him, and I'm like, okay. So I just left, took the plate, got rid of it, and did a like circle around the restaurant. And I swear on everything that is holy, I came back around that window, and it was like a scene from a movie. He just barely looked up and was like, Melik, and slid that plate. And I'm like, you better catch this. Caught that plate and went back to the table, and I was like, is there anything else I can get for you? And I just felt this like air of just like, dang, I don't even know how that happened. And that's been probably a decade. Like,
but that's what they do in the kitchen. People do what they do. They do their magic, and they put it out. You know, like yeah. There's few people that can do it, and there's many that are good at it. You know, like those are the joys in the kitchen.
Joys in the kitchen. So let's talk about some highlights. Well, first of all, what's with this olive burger?
That's one and only.
Yeah.
Well, not only. There's many, but it's just the one that my great grandmother. It's her recipe, her sauce, and the way that we prepare it. It just goes together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People talk about that.
Good.
They talk about it.
We like that.
That's so great. I know you're not going to give up the recipe, but how complicated is the recipe? Is it one of those things where like you think it takes months to do, and you're like, nah, it takes like 2 minutes, and you're done?
Well, you know, that's part of it. Like, people think that there's so much in it, and then some people think, no, it's just this. It's just this. And that's honestly part of the fun with it, too, knowing that, like, people really try to figure that out. You know, they really try to identify it, you know, and it's... And, I mean, Tammy's the only one outside of the family that knows how to make it. And she's been with us 38 years, and she's family. I don't say outside it, but like not you know, she's I don't know that restaurant without her. You know? She's amazing, and she throughout everything, she's been with us 38 years, and she's been a server, and without hesitation, when COVID hit, she just jumped into ship and was like, I'm just gonna drive it, and she ran that kitchen like no problem, no questions, and she's like truly she's an angel with us. That's
fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to stop a little bit early because this seems like a good pausing point, and I'm going to add a minute to later. We're going to take a quick, or you're going to take a quick look, about 90 seconds, at a reminder of what the Women's Center of Greater Lansing has to offer in this area.
The Women's Center of Greater Lansing has been serving the needs of Metro Lansing since 2005. The Women's Center is the leading nonprofit in the Lansing area that provides therapy on a sliding scale fee system and does not bill insurance because having or not having insurance is a barrier for many people. The Women's Center's staff and volunteers give women and their families an opportunity to thrive. Executive Director Melina Brand has details about services the Women's Center of Greater Lansing offers.
Hi, I'm Melina Brand. I'm the Executive Director of the Women's Center of Greater Lansing. I want you guys to know that we are open. Our computer lab is available for use from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Thursday, as well as our counseling sessions are virtual and in person for those who need it. We are also running our support groups virtually, and our legal clinic is also virtual. You can set up all of those appointments by calling us at 517-372-9163 or visiting our website, womencenterofgreaterlansing.org.
We're back with Autumn, head person at the Kewpee, steering the ship, owner, matriarch, as it were. But you say your dad still comes through?
Oh yeah.
Does he like wait tables? What does he do?
He's the man over. He rings up all the orders. He's the man at the register.
Oh.
Yeah. No ticket goes past him. So it just. Yeah. He's the big guy at the register.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a man of few words but very wise words. He's the go-to guy. Like he's pretty amazing. He's my favorite man on the planet.
Cool. So, well, how did it didn't start off as Kewpee's, did it? When your grandmother started this?
Great-grandmother.
Great-grandma. How did that work?
Well, she bought it from the original owners from Flint. So it came from Flint, Michigan.
Okay.
From two owners, two gentlemen, and they had a place in Lansing on Grand River.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember where Jacobson's was?
In East Lansing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's where they originally started. It was over there. And then before that, there was actually my sister.
You're bringing up all these little strange, happy memories. Like, I bought my mom a gift from there, and it, like, warmed my heart because it was the first time I had a little bit of money in my pocket.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big department store. That was big time.
Man, I felt fancy.
Yeah,
because I'm from Oscoda, and we didn't have that kind of stuff up there.
I mean, they had the paper bags with the handles. You know that's like a good...
I was like...
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's like there's everything seasonal was always decorated.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was.
I used to just go in there like I had money, be broke.
When you left broke, maybe, because it'll get you, because
I couldn't even afford.
There's so many floors. There's like a kids floor, but I mean.
No, I had to wait to stuff with like after season on sale, super sale, clearance. Like
clearance.
Basically we're gonna throw this away if you don't spend $5 on it.
But still, you were in there. You know what I mean? Spending your money.
All right, so we started on Grand River in East Lansing.
Yeah, and my sister actually found out that they had a food cart, like a legit food cart where they just did burgers, and that was over on Lake Lansing. But nope. So my great grandmother bought the one in East Lansing, and then I don't know what made her move from East Lansing to downtown Lansing, but that's where she relocated on Shiawassee. And had the diner, had a drive-through window. It was open 24 hours a day.
Drive-through window.
Yeah, walk-up window.
That would be so great right now, especially.
Oh, I know.
Especially.
Trust me, my brother, he's the mastermind of, so creative, and he can build and create anything on the drop of a dime. And we've been going through our head, how could we make this happen? Because our building's on the back of an alley, but there's no. It's not really a drive-through alley per se.
And if you were at the end, it could kind of work out, but you're in the middle. So how long? So you were on Shiawassee, and then it ended up on South Washington, where it is now.
They had a problem with the city, and LCC ended up buying the property where my great grandmother had her building. And at that time, my grandfather owned it, and so then he relocated to where we're at now, which used to be. I think it was, I might be saying it wrong, Herman's Shoes. It was a shoe store.
Yeah.
And so then it was closed for like a year and a half, and to them to do remodeling and everything. And then my dad came in and did all the woodwork and brought wood from a barn that was over 150 years old and put all that character and life into it. And they opened it.
That's so fantastic. And this is going to be telling on myself. When you go into that building, it sings to me. When I go into that building, it sings. That wood in there, there's something about the energy in there that I'm always, and it's not jarring and negative, but it's like most places don't have that frequency. You kind of go in, it's either stale or stagnant. This place, it's
alive.
Yeah, there's it's when the only way you can describe it is if it's built with love.
Yeah.
Right? It's the only way I can, what does that mean? Either you can feel it, you're connected, or you're not. Right?
Yeah.
And that, I definitely feel that energy in there. It's just kind of, because I can go in, I could be walking by and kind of be like, whatever, but you go in, you're just like, what? Like, what?
That's what that's what we feel. And so it's good to have other people feel that as well, because a lot of generations of tears and blood and sweat have gone into that, making it what it is. And I think that also has a lot to do with why it is what it is because people come for that experience, to have those memories come back. It's part of the ambience. It's that nostalgia that my grandpa brought me here, my grandma brought me here.
Right.
I can't tell you how many couples I love when they share their stories that they're celebrating 64, 65 years together, because they met at Kewpee's, and they come every year to celebrate at Kewpee's. So I think the reason why you feel it is just because of all the love that is shared there. It just kind of comes out of the brick, And
it shows that you guys are having so much fun. When I had that opportunity to do some recording in there, and you're just hearing the buzz and hearing the soundtrack that's playing and watching how you guys are, it's the dance, the kitchen, you know what I'm talking about, that kitchen dance where if you don't know it, you don't know how to operate in it, because you always got to be aware, but it's as if it's flawless, even though it's just a jazz way of doing things. And it was just it just brought me back where I was like, oh man, that's what's up.
Thank you.
That's what's up.
It's like you said earlier, when you go, it's almost like when you go to war and you go through that together, there's that bond. And through COVID, we had 13 employees and now we're down to 4 or 5, and that there's nothing like that I mean, we love everybody that works with us, but when you work through something like this that is the unknown kind of, you don't know, it just brings that bond that much closer. And we've learned to work around each other in these times. And you have to have good music. You have to have good music.
Yeah. I was hearing it and I was like, man, I ain't ever been in a kitchen that played this.
Yeah, we take everybody's likes, whatever music, we kind of see what the vibe is for the day, and if there's a little low vibe, then we try to bring it back up a little bit, right. That's because that's who we're working with, and it's when you lean on me and get that strength back up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that being the theme song at the beginning of the shift, kind of playing undertone where you're doing like a shift talk.
Could be. You never know. You never know what you're gonna get in my kitchen.
Well, if the movie get made, that's how it should be played. And you'd be like, did we do this? Not really, but Melik wrote the script.
It's a good one though. It fit.
So let's talk the menu. It's diverse but basic, and I love that about it. So you want to talk about that a little bit? Has anything changed, or is it basically what it is?
It's funny you ask about the menu, because I can remember growing up and being telling my dad, I'm like, Dad, this menu, we don't all you have is burgers and fish and onion rings and fries. That's it. He's like, that's all you need. You pick something and you do good at it. And when I started, probably about maybe 10 years ago, I started adding things on the menu because you got to grow with the times. And my poppy was like, Audie, menu's getting too big. It's getting too big. And I'm like, no, but Poppy, you got to, there's people out here that are vegetarians now. Well, have them eat a grilled cheese. Okay, but you got to just maybe some more, try this. And this is pretty trendy. And, you got to try, embrace that. And he just never, ever liked it. Well, it wasn't until recently that I was like, Dad, I gotta downsize the menu. Because you do want to focus on what you're good at, and you want to feel good and confident about what you're doing. And to be honest, you want everybody to come for your burgers because that's what you specialize in. But we like to put everything into our sandwiches, our salads, our soups.
Yeah.
But I still, throughout COVID, I've done a full menu. Our customers have been very understanding and super kind about if we aren't able to get something or they change something on us, because that's not something we do,
right?
And so,
but that's something so completely out of your control right now. That,
it is.
You're like Supplier.
I put 6,000 miles on my truck in 4 months just driving to get everything that I can on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, because our trucks, we were getting 3 trucks a week, and then it went down to 1, and then there was a time where we couldn't even get a truck, and so you just make do. You make the best of what you can. That's truly what we do in our kitchen. I tell everybody that. No matter if it's a slow day, busy day, rock what you got.
Rock what you got. I like that. What is this? What is this big whole thing over here? What is that? It looks like a tower.
This is, it's actually 16 pounds. It's a lot.
That's no joke.
No, it's not fun. TSA didn't even know what to do when I came home with it. Yeah, they were like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Duh, it's a Hamburger Trophy."
That's not on our list.
Yeah, he's like, "Can you take it out of your bag?" And he's like, "Your bag's too heavy." And so I took it out. I'm like, well, so I put it in my purse. He's like, no, you can't put it in your purse. You have to hold it. So I had to hold this but they had to talk to him. I had to talk to the pilot.
What?
Just for them to know that I had this.
You had to actually talk directly to the person flying the plane?
On the plane, he was like, what is it? They didn't know what to say about what to do with it. Because I couldn't put it in the overhead bin. Couldn't be it down because they were like, well, you're not going to use it as a weapon. I'm like, no, it's heavy. And I don't want to ruin it.
No, it's an award.
Yeah. But it was.
Look at me, I'm from Lansing. What?
Right, we feed people, not beat them, But this was an award that we won. We went down. We got invited to the Shoppe Food and Wine Festival in South Beach. We had a burger critic come into our spot and didn't know he was a burger critic, and he's now a dear friend, and he's just amazing. He did a burger tour, he's from Miami, and he just drove up the coast, and he went to places where people said they have the best of the best, and he went to several stops, and he came into the restaurant, and he had our olive burger, and I was like, I go, can I make it the way that, like, it's my favorite way? And he's like, yeah, is it different? I was like, it's the same burger, same sauce, same cheese, like, just prepared differently. And he's like, yeah. And so I made it for him.
Wait, did you know he was a critic when you were saying it
No,
to him?
no.
Oh, you were just offering up like anybody.
Yeah. And so he was like, absolutely, I'd love it, you know. But I think because talking to him about burgers, you could tell he was passionate about burgers. So I was like, this is my kind. This is my kind of people right here, you know. And so went back and made him one, and then 2 months later, he called me and asked me if we would be willing to come down to Miami and be part of the Sobe Food and Wine Festival for the Burger Bash. And we made 3,000 burgers Friday night, and it was the busiest, hardest working weekend, greatest weekend of my life, and got to meet Rachel Ray and my favorite, Rev Run. I got to feed Rev Run. I mean, it was...
Wow.
He gave me a hug and congratulated me, and all because my great-grandmother and a recipe and the way that they prepared their burgers.
Isn't that's just like an amazing butterfly moment story.
It was, and you know what made it even better is that the Sweden Sons they provided the beef for us down there, and he created this trophy. He's fourth generation of his family's the beef where they do, and so when he gave it to me, he's like, I'm just so happy that, you know, a mom and pop, like, you know, because there's 43 other people from around the world that were there competing in this, and they had like bone marrow burgers, saffron, and you know, all kinds of fancy stuff, you know, and I'm like, I don't really know what we're doing here, like, you know, and so he just said, he goes, this is just a token of our grandparents, our fathers, our parents' work, you know. So it was just so awesome to have somebody appreciate that, like, that tradition, you know, of generations to do it. And so it was just an amazing weekend. My sisters came down, and Tammy, and just absolutely rocked it.
Well, that's a fantastic story, and I'm sure that we probably could have gone on for another 3 hours.
Oh, easy.
And maybe next time we can talk more about the people and stuff like that. But Autumn, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
For coming through with your award-winning burger thing that you can't get past TSA. That's funny in itself. All right, you know what goes great with burgers? Sliding up to Cravings Popcorn. They're great. That's some good stuff, too. So thank you for tuning in to another What's the Haps Lansing. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time. Thank you, Autumn.
Thank you.